Hey everybody, if you're looking to possibly move to Forsyth County and try to save more on your property taxes, this is gonna be a great video for you. Stay tuned. We're gonna be talking about the massive new 2026 Forsyth County tax law that just got implemented. That's gonna bode well for future homeowners or people that might not be aware of it here in Forsyth County now. So not that long ago, especially if you're planning on relocating over to Atlanta, maybe you're interested in the Forsyth County area, which could be north of Atlanta in our market, and you're trying to figure out the true cost of living here in Cumming, which is a city inside of Forsyth County. One of the biggest reasons we're watching people relocate from some of the more expensive states out there would obviously be property taxes. So think about New York, California, so on and so forth, that have notoriously high property taxes. The South is already in a pretty good position to make some of those other parts of the nation look more attractive from an overall cost of living standpoint, but Forsyth County just got a little bit sweeter. So right now in June of 2026, it's happening as we speak, the Georgia real estate market updates are completely missing a massive structural shift that just went into effect. So if you own a home here, I'm a local homeowner myself here in Forsyth County. You're looking to buy a home this year, maybe relocate from somewhere outside of the state. There's a brand new hyper local law that legally caps how much your assessed homestead value can increase for Forsyth County school taxes. If you don't understand how the loophole works, that's fine. We're gonna break it down here for you on this video. If you don't take advantage of it, obviously the county is not going to come knock on your door and say like, hey, you forgot to pay us less money this year. So you got to be informed and know what the next steps are to get into it. You could be leaving thousands of dollars on the table every single month, or in equity if you're looking to go sell. We're going to be breaking down the reality of living in Cumming/Forsyth, the newly implemented House Bill 717 property tax relief law. I'm going to explain exactly how the 4% assessment cap works, why the Forsyth County School Board intentionally rejected the statewide tax model to protect local homeowners, and the exact steps you're going to want to take to get the hard deadline in to lock in your savings. So stay tuned on that one. Whether or not you're looking at the multi-dollar master plan communities near Halcyon or a starter home over in North Forsyth, this is going to be one of the more critical videos that you're going to want to pay attention to. And if you understand the real math behind North Georgia real estate, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. Let's break down the rules. So, all right, background, why property taxes went crazy. So any of you that have been homeowners since 2020 to today, were probably super thrilled that your equity and your home values went through the roof. Whatever happened from 2020 to now is an anomaly. When you take 50 plus years of real estate appreciation data, it was a massive spike. And so people were excited about that, but what they weren't as excited about is property taxes you're having to pay on those new assessed values as home values increase. And so kind of a little bit of a double-edged sword. Look, I'd much rather take home appreciation, pay the taxes on it, but what if you could have a little bit of both? Well, that's what we're talking about right now. So Forsyth County between 2022 and 2024 underwent one of the most explosive real estate booms in American history. I'm sure that's pretty consistent across the board for most of the US, and values skyrocketed overnight. Now on paper, every homeowner was thrilled because their equity was booming, but then the old tax assessors starting to come around, hitting mailboxes, and people are getting shocked by how much their tax statement or tax bills were going to be, right? Because Georgia law states that your property tax assessment must reflect 40% of the fair market value. When your home value jumps by $150,000 in a 2-year window, your taxable assessed value goes up right along with it. Suddenly, people who bought a comfortable home were facing massive, unexpected spikes in their monthly mortgage escrow payments. For those of you who are financing too, you don't have your house paid off, you're gonna get your tax bill, but you're probably not feeling it as much as somebody that owns their house outright. When you own your house outright, you gotta pay that tax bill in one fell swoop, along with your homeowner's insurance, assuming who's not getting homeowner's insurance, right? But for everybody else that's got a mortgage or a loan balance, it might've been a little bit more sneaky on some of the tax hikes we saw on property values. But here's what you need to understand about the tax dollars actually going, where do they actually go? In Forsyth County, your property tax bill is going to be divided into a few buckets. First one is you got county operations, fire operations, and county bonds. The absolute king of your tax bill is going to be, this is going to be about 60 to 70% of the entire amount is school taxes. So think school operations and school bonds. Because our local state delegation and the Forsyth County School Boards of Education realized that our rapid growth was placing an unfair, volatile tax burden on standard families, they stepped in to create an aggressive hyper-local shield. I'm sure a lot of the Forsyth County residents were behind this as well. They drafted the House Bill 717, which we've already named, put on the ballot. Local citizens voted an overwhelming yes, and it's officially the law of the land right now in 2026. So it's good news. We've got the shield in place. Now we need to know a little bit more about what you can do to lock it in, and a little bit more further information about what else is going on. How HB 717 actually works, the 4% rule. So let's break it down. 717 is a local floating homestead exemption that applies specifically to ad valorem taxes for educational purposes within the Forsyth County School District. What it does is simple but powerful. So it places a hard 4% annualized cap on the reassessed value of your primary residence. Meaning no matter how much your home value increases, the maximum amount that can be raised on the assessed value of your house can be 4%, which is great, especially if you look at those 2, 3, 4 years right after COVID and what they did. So let's give you an example here. Let's say you buy a beautiful home in West Forsyth or South Forsyth for $700,000. That purchase year becomes your base year. Under Georgia law, 40% of the value is taxable, which puts your assessed base value at $280,000. That's at that $700,000 amount. Let's say the market stays hot. The following year, the county tax assessors come out and say, hey, neighborhood exploded. Your house is now worth $800,000 instead of $700,000. You see a $100,000 gain in home valuation. Normally, your taxable value would jump instantly from $280,000 to $320,000, and you'd get hit with a major tax increase on your next bill, right? That's the old way. The new way, under House Bill 717, the law steps in and says, not so fast, we're gonna hold the line. The county, Forsyth County, can only adjust your base assessed value by a maximum of 4%. That's a maximum of 4%, so it might even be less in softer markets. The 4% of your $280,000 at that $700,000 valuation is just $11,200. So instead of the old way, taxing you on $320,000, the school district is legally restricted to taxing you on a maximum of $291,200. So it's not a total increase on $11,200 for your tax bill. That's just the taxable increase at that 4% cap. So it's good news. The entire difference between what your county says your home is worth and that 4% cap limit is completely wiped out by an automatic exemption. Cap stays locked on your property year after year, shielding you from massive real estate bubbles until the day you sell your house and move somewhere else and a new buyer takes over. It provides a level of financial stability and predictability for your monthly housing costs, something that's been and still is on the forefront of everybody's mind, which is unaffordability in the housing market. Statewide opt and the senior exemption loophole. Let's talk about a piece of strategy that proves how smart our local leadership is out here. So we've got, the last legislative cycle, the state of Georgia passed a broader bill called House Bill 581, that's not 717, which tried to create a blanket statewide cap tied to national inflation indicators. But in February of 2025, just a little bit over a year ago, Forsyth County School Board looked at the state's plan and officially voted to opt out of House Bill 581. They did that because they realized that our local 717 House Bill model, predictable 4% cap, was superior for both financial stability of our top-ranked school systems and protection of local homeowners. They kept local control over local resources, which is why our schools consistently stay ranked as the absolute best in the state year after year. By the way, if you didn't know, Forsyth County's got some of the best school systems out there in the state of Georgia, and they've done cool things here to go protect people's, tax liabilities. If you're a senior citizen moving to Cumming, Georgia, even if you're moving within the state of Georgia from county like say Fulton County, for example, which is a neighboring county just to the southwest, does not have these protections in place. So Georgia has a lot of counties. Not all counties offer what's called senior exemption. But if you are a senior moving to Cumming, You need to understand how this ties into the ultimate tax loophole. 717 protects families up to the age of 64. Moment you turn 65 years old, Forsyth County unlocks what's called Code L1, Ellis and Larry. It's a 100% total exemption from all school general and bond taxes, which, if we go back, was the vast majority of your tax bill. Meaning, if you're a senior and you're a resident in the Forsyth County area and you're 65 and older, you get a massive break on your taxes, which is a big deal. With absolutely no income limits whatsoever, again, that's also a pretty big deal. Since school taxes make up the vast majority of our bill, when you hit 65, that portion drops to zero. We've helped out a lot of retirees move here from places like New Jersey, New York, Illinois, where they're paying $12,000 a year in property taxes, and suddenly the tax bill over here in Georgia was closer to $300 or $400 a year. Not bad, right? Between the 4% cap for young families, makes sense. Young families are using the school systems, makes sense, and they're still in income earning mode. It would make sense that they should shield or carry some of the burden on having to pay those taxes. The 100% senior exemption for retirees, Forsyth County has created an absolute fortress for your household wealth. Not a bad deal. All right, here's the catch and why you need an expert team in your corner. None of these tax exemptions happen automatically, as you can guess. The county's not just going to hand you these caps out of the goodness of their heart. They do require that you take certain steps to get locked in for those savings. To unlock the 4% cap under House Bill 717, you got to apply and receive the standard homestead exemption. This is a pretty simple process for the county. I believe you can do it online, relatively easy to qualify. You got to own the home and it's got to be occupied as your primary residence. So you can't come in here as a secondary house. It's got to be primary. That's the only thing that's going to qualify. And you've got to do it January 1st of the tax year. You've got a little bit of time. Let's say you close on June 1st of 2026 to apply for next year's taxes. You've got to be locked in by January 1st for the next coming year. That's how that works. This means you got to legally register your vehicles in Forsyth County and register to vote at that specific address. Once you fulfill those residency requirements, you face a hard, unforgiving calendar deadline. It's April 1st. If you buy a home in June of this year, you cannot apply until you can't apply until January 1st of next year, and then you've got until April 1st. So you've got a 4-month, you got January, February, March, 3 months. You've got 3 months, January to April 1st, April Fool's Day. If you miss that date by even a single day, the county will bar you from exemption for the entire calendar year, meaning you're gonna pay the full, uncapped, inflated rate for the extra 12 months. Don't do that. And again, like I said, pretty easy to get in there and make sure that this is all legitimate. When you work with our team, the elite team here at Century 21 Results, we're not just gonna find you a beautiful house, we're gonna also hand you the keys and point you to the direction of protecting your equity long-term. We care about that. Exact deed information, the right utility bill, a step-by-step blueprint to file your homestead correctly at the tax commissioner's office. And that's on Triple Gap Road or Sharon Road, so your money stays protected. At the end of the day, whether you're looking for a $500,000 starter home in North Forsyth or that $1 million luxury lakefront oasis home in South Forsyth, you need to have a plan. The market in 2026 is a little bit too fragile to wing it. Make sure you reach out to one of us and get professional help. If you got value from this video, make sure you do me a favor and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We appreciate you guys watching this stuff. And look, I'm just a real guy that lives in Forsyth County that sells a lot of homes, and we've run a team with a lot of Forsyth County experts that would love to help you out as well. Thanks for staying tuned. We'll see you on the next video.